Peace and blessings, and thank you for stopping by Stindy Farm. I wanted to talk a little bit about growing your own food. Have you ever noticed that when you buy a tomato, let's say from a supermarket, and you slice that tomato, you maybe use a little bit, you put the rest in the fridge, come back in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month, and that tomato hasn't changed. It still looks as fresh as it did the day that you bought it. It's not moldy. Or seedless grapes, you buy them and you forget about them and they push back to the back of the fridge, and then a month later you pull them out and they look exactly the same. I've even taken seedless grapes and thrown them in my compost and come back a week or two later and they look the same. Even the worms wouldn't eat them. So I wonder about those things. I think it's important that we all begin to grow our own food. And I know there are people that live in apartments, that live in small spaces, and they don't have the space that we have to plant a full garden. But I wanted to show you these grow bags. This one is from Amazon, and I believe this one is a 15-gallon grow bag. It's pretty large. You could put lettuces in this. You could put several different types of vegetable or fruits in these bags. The ones that I'm going to be using today are the 7-gallon bags, which are the smaller ones. And I think I got these, they were like 10 for less than $20. And if you go to Amazon and just put in grow bags, you'll see. They come in different colors. If you don't want black, sometimes black is hard on the plants because the sun really hits these bags hard. But the benefits of a grow bag are that they allow air to get to the roots of your plants, and so that's a good thing. They also are cheap, like I said. They're transportable. You can move them around the yard. If you have a stoop or a porch where you want to just move plants around, you can do that. And they're reusable. These I had last year and I'm reusing them, this year as well. So those are the benefits, but there are some disadvantages. And one is that these bags leak a lot of water, and so your plants tend to dry out faster in these grow bags than they normally would in a potted pot. So I have a little tip for you, and it's these. These are sanitary pads. And I know it may sound a little gross, but if you zoom in, you'll see that these are the organic cotton ones. And I got these from the dollar store, and I think this is a bag of 10. Okay, and you can actually cut these in smaller pieces if you want to. But what I do is I take a pad and I'll fill the bag. If you can see, this bag is probably a fourth full. So I fill the bag a fourth or less, and I'll put this pad in there like that, and then I'll add some more soil to this bag. So I'm going to fill it up to the top, and I'm going to use my hands, because your hands are the greatest tools that you have in the garden. Okay, so I'm going to fill this bag up with soil, cover that pad, and the thing is, you use what you have. As I talked about before, I don't like to keep going to the box stores. I did buy the soil, but it was on sale. It was I think 10 bags or 5 bags for $10. And so I don't like to keep going back to the box stores, because I don't want to spend more money on the supplies for gardening than the produce that I'm creating. So I'm really working to be self-sufficient in my garden. So at any rate, so I'm going to fill this bag up like I did here. And another benefit to these bags is if you don't fill it up to the top, you can always, see how I did this? You can always bring the bag down. You can
to the level of the soil so that your plant gets adequate sunlight.
Okay, so what I would do, I would stop here with other plants, but these are tomato plants and they really need a lot of depth because their roots go really deep. So I'm going to just add a little bit more here. Okay, this tomato plant I planted from seed, and I have a little question mark on this cup because I don't remember what this seed was, and that happens. So until this plant begins to fruit, I'll know exactly what I planted. Okay, and the seed, the roots are not bound or anything, so you know, you can see them. They're established, but they're not quite bound, which is a good thing. So I'm going to just dig a hole, and I'm going to plant this plant higher than, because with tomato plants, the stems can establish roots too. So I'm going to plant it pretty deep. Okay? And like I said, I can just bring the bag down to soil level. Okay, and I'm using what I have. So I have pine needles. We have a lot of pine trees on our property, so I'm going to use the pine needles to act as mulch. Now some people would say, oh, these are acidic, you shouldn't use pine unless it's like a plant that likes acidity, like blueberries. But my understanding is once these needles turn brown, they're not acidic anymore. So I don't have, you know, wood chips or anything like that. This is what I have. So I'm going to put this around the plant, again, to retain some of the moisture. And I'll probably go out and gather some more and put around this. Okay. And then I'm just going to water it in. Give it a heavy dose of water. And I always check my water before I, because sometimes in the holes, you know, if it's sitting out, it will get pretty hot. So this is good. So I'm going to just, so you see how already it's flowing out of the bag, the water. So that's why I put that pad in there, to retain some of the water. Okay. So that's a little tip for you. And I'll place these in a place in my garden that gets a lot of sun. And I'll probably start a pot garden. So there you have it. Thank you for joining me today. And please like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace and blessings.